Blessings, saints. In 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18, we read from Paul. He says, "For the word of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God." The gospel was everything to Paul. He assures us there in chapter 2 of 1 Corinthians when he says, "When I came to you, brethren, I did not come with superiority of speech or of wisdom, proclaiming to you the testimony of God. For I determined to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified." This lays at the heart of what my message has been all these last years, these almost 2.5 decades. I ran from my calling for 22 years. God had called me to the ministry, pastoral ministry. And I was taken aback. I didn't feel that I had those gifts. Why would God call me? I speak like I have a mouth full of rocks. And sometimes I still feel that way. Paul tells us that he didn't come with superiority of speech. He didn't come like a polished evangelist, but simply to preach the gospel. And after 22 years, when I came back in the message, the only thing laid upon my heart was the message of the gospel to be given to my church, my fellow members, my fellow travelers, as we give the last message to the world, that last message in Revelation 14. Because after that message, there is no other message. It's the second coming. And in there is preached the gospel, the everlasting gospel, to those who dwell on the earth and to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. This has been my burden from the very beginning. And if any one message that I could give, it would be the gospel of Jesus Christ. Even the other two parts of the first angel's message are united with the gospel. Fear God, give Him glory, for the hour of His judgment has come, is not something that's separate from the gospel. If we fail to receive so great a gift as the gospel, all that's left is God's wrath. But in this verse, in the first angel's message, is more than just a threat of judgment, but that we live in a world that has been blackened by Satan when he took control of it, when he tempted our forefathers, Adam and Eve, to enter into sin and enter into the war against God. And so now God is restoring this justice in a world that has no justice. He's bringing back the light. And that's part of the gospel message. The proclamation of worshiping God, the third part of the first angel's message, is also tied to the gospel. Because we worship Creator God and we give Him the glory for what He has done in restoring us and reconciling us, putting things back. As opposed to this false system we see at the end of the world that wants all the praise and has taken the world by storm. We, like the last day Elijah's, calling people back to worship the true God, the one who gave Himself for us to restore all things and to put us back right with Him. This is the one message that is through everything that I have ever hoped to teach or preach about, is the gospel of Jesus Christ. Like Paul, I too can say there in verse 2 of chapter 2 of 1 Corinthians, "For I determined to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ, in whom Him crucified." And I hope you feel the same way as we go forward to take back the kingdom. Blessings.